So we recently, unfortunately, have had this breaking incident in the news. It's all over the place. I've had people text me about it and say, I've just seen this clip.
I think it was a black lady who was racially abusing a pregnant Muslim lady.
She was definitely spouting Islamophobic remarks, to say the least. But yes, I believe from what I've read and heard that it was racially aggravated as well. Currently, as of now, this woman I've read has been arrested, which is very good, and the police are investigating the whole thing, which is good. I'm quite disappointed and ashamed almost to have something like this happen, and it comes from a woman of colour, black, mixed race, whatever. That's disappointing to me. We as black people can't afford to have views like this. I think black people historically over the last 2 generations have been far too marginalised and far too this and far too that to be coming across like this to other races, other religions, cultures, etc. That's number one.
One of the things that a lot of people were saying about this was, how can she say that? How can she say all this as a black woman?
Yeah, I'm a person of minority. A minority.
Do you see? And I'm thinking, okay, I understand that point of view, but should it make a difference? Yeah. The things that were said should not have been said, right? She has every right to have her own view on whatever, but she does not have the right to abuse
people in public.
Well, people in general. The driver stopped. The driver tried to break it up.
I read that the driver did stop. He confronted the woman. He told everyone to calm down. The woman, the heavily pregnant woman, doesn't speak a lot of English, and she asked him to call the police. He said, "You can do that yourself." I'm not saying this is wrong. The heavily pregnant woman was on a bus, minding her own business, not speaking the English language, which I personally feel is her right. She can speak whatever language she likes. When she's speaking to a family member, I think that's okay, personally. And she was called out, she was abused.
Okay, so as someone who has to get the bus in London every day, I can understand people not getting involved.
Explain.
Totally.
Explain.
You are on this bus, you are in a place you cannot escape from. The bus is moving, and a lot of the time you just want to get on, sit, get off. You haven't got the time, in inverted commas. There's a lot of people that have the view of, it's your problem, and they just don't want to get involved. I've seen incidents where people have just asked, could you stop please, and then it just kicks off. And I can totally understand why people wouldn't get involved, especially if you've got someone who's just going, and you don't know whether she's just really angry, whether she's drunk, whether she's on drugs, whether whether she's carrying or anything. You're in a confined space
with someone who's
and you have no idea if everybody else around you is going to rally to the cause. Yeah? Now,
okay, all right.
Do we know what started it all?
No, not at least I don't currently. It might have had something to do with buggies, or an issue over buggies, or an issue over the woman not being able to speak. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. What you said there is fine, but if we're now in a place in society in this world where we are only going to act and do the right thing based on what other people might do, we've really lost a few steps. And I'm not justifying this at all. The Islamophobia is not justifiable. It's not. It's wrong. It's wrong, in and out wrong. But that goes without saying, so I'm going to move past that. What I find very difficult, more than anything else, is we have had a heavily pregnant woman, who has been abused in public, and no one's done anything about it. Or the bus driver did something about it. The clip went on for minutes. The person who's filming it filmed it. Okay, that's good. Forget what she said. She abused a pregnant woman. If that was your girl, would you not have wanted someone to say something? If that was your mother, would you not have wanted someone to say something? If you weren't there?
Does it matter that she was pregnant?
Yes, I think. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she was pregnant with regard to the remarks that were made against her. But the fact that she was pregnant and no one came to the rescue bothers me personally.
Right.
I don't know about anyone else, because I see pregnant women as vulnerable, and I think they should be protected and blah blah blah.
Scarily, it doesn't surprise me. As a sodding commuter that I am, these commuters are some of the rudest people. I mean, I could kill about 7 people every day on the way to work. Yeah. They just don't care. If you get bumped on a commute,
no sorry or anything.
Nah, man, you're going to get the person behind you, because you've just stopped to steady yourself. The person behind you is then going to push you because they're in a rush. And the fact that you've got this person just having a go, I think most of the people on that bus are just thinking, please just get off. And a lot of people will just get off and wait for the next bus. This is what I'm seeing as somebody who's moved there. I don't really see this kind of community spirit.
I've not been in a situation, so I don't know. But I would like to believe that if I saw something like that and I was witness to it, I was there, I'm outspoken enough at the best of times, I need to believe that I would say something. Because everyone has their right to go about their daily business without being abused. That's all I'm saying. She said the worst things.
Do you know what was interesting is I don't understand why the clip was taken down.
I don't know.
Who took it down?
I don't know. I don't know if it.
Now,
I don't know.
Why? I
don't know.
Very, very weird. Very weird. Now,
but by the time it got taken down, it was viewed 3/4 times anyway.
Yeah.
So it had been seen.
Yeah, it had been seen. Oh yeah, of course.
But I mean, I've got Muslim friends. They have views about it, and that's fine. And they're perfectly justified to have their views. Basically, what I'm hearing from this attitude that you're describing is it's convenient for us to not do anything about it, and so we won't. That's not good, because I guarantee you that regardless of whether or not she could speak whether or not she could speak English, if it was your girlfriend, your aunt, your sister, you would hope that someone would have stepped in. If this is where we are. We're on a slippery slope. We're on a sticky wicket. We now have a vulnerable woman who's being abused in public, and no one's doing anything. So what's the next thing? Are we now going to allow our women and allow members of the public to be raped in public, and people are just going to walk past because it's convenient? People now will say, well, no, of course not. So why are we okay, London or anywhere else, with this sort of behaviour, and no one's saying anything? All it takes for evil to prevail is good men do nothing. Or for men in general to do nothing. And that's what we saw. We saw a woman being abused for 4 minutes and no one giving a fuck. Okay, if this is where we are. But needless to say, the woman, the pregnant lady, the mother-to-be, is on record now as taking an interview by a magazine or whoever and saying she didn't feel supported, she didn't feel anyone was in her corner or came to her defense. And as she didn't speak a lot of English, she couldn't defend herself. So she was vulnerable as far as I'm concerned, and no one did anything. All I can say is, anyone who sees that clip and thinks that thinks that people doing nothing is okay, I hope to Christ that one of the females in your family doesn't have to go through something similar.
Having seen, day in,
firsthand,
day out, it is just like walking through zombies. Get up, work, go home. They don't want to have any interaction with anyone.
But you've got a situation with this, what we're discussing, where you're forced. You didn't ask to be on a bus in front with someone who's abusing someone else, but times like that test your humanity. Things like that test how awake are you? What are your morals saying? How does it make you feel? If you feel nothing, what's wrong with that? Whether or not the action you take to control the situation, to diffuse the situation, to calm it down, whether it has an effect or not, whether it makes it worse or not, to me isn't as relevant as you trying to do something. You can say all you want about the bus driver did this and the bus driver did that. Okay, I can handle that talk. But by the time the bus driver stepped up, the woman had been abused for God knows how long. Do you see what I mean? Attempt. That's what's important. But someone's got to do it first. Who's going to step up? Who's going to have some bollocks? Who's going to show their minerals and do something? This is a pregnant woman, dude.
Look, I understand that in certain parts of London, you don't want to get involved because you know it's dangerous. Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
And I understand that. And you just never know. I don't know which part of London this was in or whatever.
This was on the northwest. This is somewhere in the northwest, I think, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But does it make it right that no one said anything?
No, not at all. But obviously, the situation it has to be assessed. And that's fair enough. And I understand.
What this comes down to for me is dangerous or not, right? Dangerous or not. Would you like someone to do this to a female member of your family? If the answer is no, that's it as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. It might be too simplistic for some people. Okay, it's dangerous. You could die every day. You could die. You could die walking. You could hit by a bus.
Yeah.
You could slip and crack your head open on the sidewalk. There's a million and one ways to die. How are you going to act whilst you're here? If we are going to not do what's right because we're afraid of the repercussions, we are already at the lowest of the low.